There's never been more choice when it comes to buying a new car. These days they seemingly come in every shape and size, but it's still the big names like Toyota, Mazda and Holden that dominate the sales charts. But what happens if you want something a little bit different? Something that stands out in traffic? Well, we've assembled 3 of the funkiest compact SUVs to find out. Our group consists of the new Citroen C4 Cactus, Fiat 500X and the Suzuki Vitara Turbo. All 3 offer up similar size and space for around $30,000, but more importantly, each offers up a bold but uniquely different style. First up, it's the Citroen Cactus. The French brand has never been known for building conventional cars, and this new compact SUV certainly lives up to its quirky avant-garde heritage. And if this contest was purely about funkiness, then the Cactus would be the clear winner. Its rounded shape stands out even before you notice the unique air bumps on the side of the car. The plastic panels are designed to act like bubble wrap and protect the car from runaway shopping trolleys and other low-speed bumps and scrapes. It is a clever idea, but likely to remain unique to Citroen. But there is more to the Cactus than just the air bumps. Under the bonnet, there is a 68 kilowatt, 230 Newton meter, 1.6 litre turbo diesel engine paired with a 6-speed robotised manual transmission. Unfortunately, the gearbox really lets the Cactus down. These robotised manuals are quite frankly past their use by date. I've never liked them in any car I've ever driven in, even Aston Martins and Audis. In the case of the Citroen, it's all the same usual problems. It's really jerky and has clumsy shifts. It just seems to get confused, particularly under low throttle. If you go up a hill, for example, it doesn't know what gear it wants to be in. It can make it a pretty unpleasant thing to drive. The Cactus also has one of the keenest stop-start systems I've ever experienced. The wheels don't even have to stop turning before the engine switches off. Now, in theory, the gearbox and that stop-start allow the Cactus to turn out one of the most efficient engines in its class, 3.6 litres per 100 k's, which is really impressive. However, the trade-off just isn't worth it. It's just too unpleasant to drive, particularly the transmission. You just find it super frustrating. You can look past those foibles though. There is actually a lot to like about the Cactus. The interior especially is a highlight. It's got some retro touches, but also some modern things like these tablet style displays. But it's just sort of a funky place to be, and these lounge style seats that they call them are really quite comfy. But it's just really hard to look past the driving experience that is really let down by this transmission. Underlining just how funky the Fiat 500X is, we're testing a model called the Popstar. Part of the Italian brand's decision to cash in on the success of the retro 500 city car, the 500X takes that style and pumps it up to create a unique looking compact SUV. While it misses out on the air bumps of the Cactus, there's no question the 500X will get lost in a crowd. Under the bonnet is a 1.4 litre turbocharged petrol engine that is good for 103 kilowatts and 230 Newton meters. It's mated to a 6-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox. The good news for Fiat is the gearbox is a lot better than the one that's in the Citroen. The not so good news is it does still have a lot of the little issues that you expect from a dual-clutch transmission. By that I mean it can be a little jerky at low speeds, but overall it's actually a pretty good car to drive. The engine performs really well, has no trouble shifting this car along, and the gearbox when you're on the move is actually pretty smooth. The ride is a little firm at times, but it feels more like you're driving a car and less like you're driving an SUV. So it's actually not a bad little thing. And of course it is funky. I mean, the 500 as is was already a funky little car, and they've just made it bigger with the X. The interior is really cool. It's got this colour matched panel on the dash that makes it really stand out and feel a little bit special. Some of the switchgear is obviously shared with its sibling, the Jeep Renegade, but again, that's not really a deal breaker. Everything is actually pretty user friendly. It's all really well laid out. Of course, one of the biggest differences between the X and the regular 500 is how big it is inside. It's a much more spacious car, even if it is still a compact SUV. It's got plenty of space in the back for a couple of kids. Overall, I actually think Fiat's done a pretty good job with the 500X. It has its own unique character, but it's actually still not a bad car to drive. The new Vitara was one of the biggest surprises of 2015. While there's more than a hint of Range Rover about the styling, underneath Suzuki has created a thoroughly impressive compact SUV. So much so that it won the Best City SUV category at the 2015 Drive Car of the Year Awards. But Suzuki hasn't been idle, and despite only launching the car last year, it has already given it a heart transplant, adding a 1.4 litre turbocharged engine to the mix. It's good for 103 kilowatts, which puts it on par with its rivals. And while that may not be enough grunt to turn the Vitara into a hot hatch, when combined with its well-sorted chassis, the new engine makes the Vitara the most pleasant and enjoyable of this trio to drive. Suzuki has created a very well-balanced and comfortable riding compact SUV that is ahead of the competition, at least on the road. Inside, the Vitara loses ground to its rivals. The cabin is plainer in its design and the materials look a little cheaper and don't feel quite as premium as either the Fiat or the Citroen. It does score some points back though, with its optional two-tone paint, which gives it a look that certainly stands out, as does its sharp drive-away price that undercuts both of its rivals. Obviously, more than ever, picking a winner in this contest is a matter of personal taste as much as anything. But we can separate them in terms of driving dynamics, comfort, space and value. So, which is the funkiest of them all? Well, in this contest of style and substance, the car that stands out from the pack is the Suzuki Vitara. Ultimately, the Vitara's better driving experience, coupled with its drive-away price that undercuts both its rivals, gives it the edge. It may not be quite as out there in the styling department, but it still has that X factor that helps it stand apart from the mainstream. The Suzuki is the alternative SUV you can buy with both your heart and your head.